So welcome to this class. Today we are going to discuss mainly the topic of phase locked loop and a small point of the power supply we will try to cover. Few more points of power supply will take up somewhat later, such as switch mode power supply. Okay, so the first point to be discussed today is current limiting in power supply. Current limiting in power supply. This is nothing to do with phase lock loop, but we will cover this topic quickly today and then move to phase lock loop. Current limiting in power supply. So shall we go ahead? Is this fine? Right. So if we look at any power supply, for example, if you buy a power supply, in the sense sufficiently with sufficient facilities, it will have the out. This is the power supply. It will have first of all output. It means plus and minus the output terminals. Then it will have displays, voltmeter, voltage and current. So these meters will show the actual values of, so it will show voltage and this will show load current. But there is also there are settings of voltage adjustment, and there is also a setting of current limit adjustment. So this will mark properly. This is not current adjustment, this is current limit adjustment. Now what is the difference between this current adjustment and current limit adjustment? For example, suppose you have a power supply. This is a box power supply, and to this box we are connecting some lamp. We are connecting a lamp. I think I'll connect. I'll show better lamp. We are connecting lamp. So this lamp will draw some current, that is IL. Based on the power of the lamp, IL will go up or down. Yes or no? This is our power supply. Hello? Suppose the power supply can supply 1 ampere and bulb is drawing 500 milliampere, then it will be okay. But if the bulb is changed such that it now draws 1.5 ampere, then the bulb may be happy if the current is supplied, but the power supply will not be happy because it has its limit as 1 ampere. So now the limit is crossing. So the power supply has the facility of adjusting the current limit. Suppose you want to test a new circuit. Why current limit is required? Let me show you. Suppose you have developed a microcontroller based circuit. Suppose this is the PCB. This is the PCB. There is the chip and few more things on the board. And to this board you are giving power supply. And you are connecting the power supply to this. Plus and minus. and you are unsure of the board, whether the board is proper, whether the board is having problem, whether the IC is going to draw more current. So in order to keep the things under your control, what you have to do is you have to adjust the current limit. I am drawing one control, bigger control. So this this you have to adjust. This is called as current limit. Now suppose if you set this current limit to 100 milliampere, what the power supply will do, it will not allow current more than 100 milliamperes. It will drop the voltage, but current more than 100 milliamperes will not be supplied. So if the voltage drops, it clearly means that the PCB is drawing more than 100 milliamperes. So there is some problem. You can also try setting current limit to say initially very small value and then slowly increase that. So current limit is a very good facility in the power supply, which allows you to test the circuit and to protect the circuit. Otherwise the circuit may get damaged or power supply may also get damaged. So current limits are very useful. Did you understand the difference between current drawn, load current and current limit? Current limit is set by the power supply. Load current value is decided by the load resistance or whatever is the load. It may be a PCB, it may be one more instrument or whatever. Did you understand the difference between these two things, current limit and load current? Load current is decided by load, current limit is decided by power supply, and ultimately the user of the power supply. Okay, did you understand this? Right. So now how power supplies do current limiting? There are two types of current limits implemented in power supply. Two types. I will draw two graphs and then we'll discuss about what these graphs are. This is IL, this is VL, so it is constant, and this is the limit. Actually IL, this value can change from 0 to any value, but the limit is set here. So when the limit is crossed, the output voltage will drop, but the current will remain constant. So this region is called as constant voltage region, and this region is called as constant current region. Okay. So during this portion of the graph, you get constant output. It means power supply works properly. In this portion of the graph, only current is constant, but the voltage is dropping. So it is not really a power supply, but a power supply which is controlling the output current so as not to exceed the limit. Did you understand this? There is one more type of protection which I will draw here. I think I will copy the same here. Right. So here what is difference is this. This particular portion is the same, limit is also same, constant voltage area is the same, voltage load voltage constant, everything is there, but the behavior of the power supply, I repeat, behavior of the power supply when the current limit is crossed is different. So when the current limit is crossed, instead of keeping the load current constant, what the power supply does is power supply reduces the current and voltage at the same time. So it becomes like this. So during this period, it is not current constant, it is not constant current source, but VL and IL both drop. So these are the two current limit types. How they are implemented we'll see somewhat later. But did you understand first of all difference between the load current and current limit? Yes or no? So current limit is what the user is going to set to protect the load or whatever. So when you actually do the experiment or when you actually test a new embedded circuit which is just designed and assembled and you want to test it, you should set the voltage usually at power 5 volt and the current limit lowest, current limit at the lowest level. So let me write down for testing of newly assembled embedded board. Embedded board is an example, it can be any electronic system. We should keep current limit to what? You can say for first testing. What is your answer? Let us take an example. Suppose this is Priyanka. I am not able to draw good pictures today, but smiling Priyanka we can draw. And she is in a company, John Deere. She is given a job of designing a board which she has successfully completed. While designing the board, she has done estimation of power, estimate of power. It means she selected a processor, then she selected some hardware, then she assembled the whole thing. But each component on the board will draw some power. She found out what is the total power. She found that it is 234 milliampere approximately, or 240, you can say 240 milliamperes. Okay, so what is the value of current limit she should set? Are you getting the point, Priyanka? Are you understanding the problem? Hello. Priyanka is in John Deere. She designed a board and estimated power drawn, or estimate of power means estimate of current drawn by that board is 240 milliampere. So what, for testing this, what is the current limit value she should set? Should it be 0? I'll write down these values. 0, 2, 100 milliampere, 3, 250 milliampere, and 4, 1000 milliampere. What is your option, Priyanka? 250 milliampere. So what is the logic behind that? It should be slightly higher than the estimated power. It should not be this, because if the board is wrong, board is faulty, then it will draw 1000 milliampere, which will cause problem. This is also not correct, because even if the board is okay, it will not allow more current. So the power supply will say that I cannot give 100 milliampere and more. So the board will be unhappy. This anyway is not allowed. So this is the idea behind the current limit. Everybody understood this current limit idea? Okay. Now suppose she has one more board. She has one more board, board 2, which has estimated power of 120 milliampere, but and the board is okay. Board is okay. So what she did is she set the current limit. She set current limit to 250. It means it was earlier value, and changed the board to board 2. So how much current power supply will supply? So the answer is 10 milliampere, 250 milliampere, 240 milliampere, and 120 milliampere. So which is the correct answer? She initially used the power supply. She initially used board 1. Board 1 was drawing 240, so she set 250 as the limit. Then she changed the board, which has current of 120 milliampere. Okay. So actual current will be 120 milliampere, because this is less than the current limit set. Current limit does not mean that load will draw that much current. If you remove the load, no current will flow, but current limit will be the same. Are you getting the idea? And in this situation, if she removes the board, what will be the load current? In this situation, if she removes the board, power supply is there, just remove the connection, what will be the load current? Right. So these are the things which we wanted to learn. Okay. Fine. So this is enough about the current limit for today. We will take up this topic once again in some different session, where we will learn the hardware of the current limit also. Right. So, but today we will start learning what is called as phase locked loop. Right. So this block this is actually a block. Let me draw the block afterwards, but I want to convey the uses of phase lock loop. If we know the uses, then we will tend to learn it. Otherwise, why to spend our time? So this particular block or this particular circuit is used in many places, in many applications, many electronic systems, but most prominent nowadays is the clock speed control of processor. Right. So when we think of course there are numerous applications. I am just picking up one application with which we are familiar. Suppose you are using a microcontroller 8051. Are you learning 8051 now? Yes or no? Right. Now you picked up the basic 8051. Basic 8051, and you started experimenting on this. Right. So pin number 40 is VCC, pin number 20 is ground, and since it's a basic 8051, it has a fixed clock frequency. What is the typical crystal that we use to 8051? What is the crystal value? 12 megahertz. To which pins we connect them? Pin number 19, or anyway I will not make the things. So this is the crystal, 12 megahertz. Fine. Right. Now you want to develop a system which will run at full speed when it is running on mains power supply, mains power, and at slow speed when on battery. How to do that, it's different thing, but you want to implement this. Now this kind of thing is not possible in a situation where you use 8051, because 8051 works at 12 megahertz. 12 megahertz crystal is connected, it is divided by 12, so it works at 1 megahertz irrespective of circuit conditions. So its speed will be all the time the same, whether you are running on battery or whether you are running on mains power supply, whether your battery is getting down or whatever, it will work at the same speed. Did you understand this much? Okay, but now there are advanced versions of 8051, so I'll write down advanced version. Suppose Amol is using advanced version, advanced 8051. So it will also be 8051. This will also be 8051. If you are interested, go through the site called signal.com or Silicon Labs. I don't remember whether it is Silicon Lab or Silicon Labs, but they produce these advanced 8051s. Now what is advanced 8051? Please read about that. Learning basic 8051 in class is fine, but we need to know that there is something called as advanced 8051. Now this particular circuit has facility, this particular 8051 has variable clock speed. Even if you use laptop, suppose if you are using a laptop, its speed drops when the battery is low. Have you experienced this? So why does it happen? Because the processor in the laptop is designed in such a way that it can change the speed of its own based on the battery condition, so that it can adapt to the situation. Everybody understood this? So how does it happen? The crystal when the battery is low, do you open the laptop and change the crystal frequency? Yes or no? Sorry. When the battery goes down, do you open the laptop and change the crystal of your processor? No, we do not do that. So that is ridiculous. But still it happens. It happens because there is this particular block. So this block is responsible for facility such as variable clock speed in case of electronic circuits. Do you think it is useful? How does it work? We'll see. So it is used in variety of systems such as processor design. Nowadays it is widely used in processor design. Those who are interested in processor design, they can learn this seriously. It is used in embedded system design because it uses the processor. It is used in communication systems. It is used in various other applications like power electronics. In variety of, wherever you need variable clock, you can implement this. So in processor design, the IC designer should know PLL, then he can implement it. In embedded system design, he should know how to use the facility designed by the processor designer, and in communication system he should know how the system is going to be useful, how the change of speed will reduce the power and so on, and variety of applications. So these are the major one. Did you understand the idea, fundamental idea behind the phase lock loop or fundamental applications? We took an example of 8051. So I think I'll show you, that is better. Instead of just talking, it's better to go to see which processor shall I go for. I will go for PIC controller, PIC 24. I think I may have data sheet. You pick up any PIC 24 FJ. So this is the sorry, this is a 24-bit processor, 16-bit processor, sorry, 24 series processor of microchip. And let us check. This is actually a processor, but it has some analog parts also. It means analog circuit is important, even if you are interested in digital design. So it has voltage regulator, so analog is important. It has idle mode, sleep mode, doze mode. So all these modes are useful for reducing the power. So then it is required to reduce the sleep mode current. How the processor is reducing its power, unless and until we cannot do that just by writing code. There must be hardware to support that code. Okay, can you see this? Did you see the word PLL? So this is what is the use of the processor, use of the PLL. So I mean to say that PLL is a very important block in electronics, similar to op-amp. Okay. You can see here PLL clock timing specifications. So phase lock loop is used in processors. Did you understand this much? At least partially. That phase lock loop is something which is used in processors for implementing variable speed processor. Did you understand this much? It is used in communication system also. So if you look at what it is, how much time do we have? Yes, we will work for 10 minutes and then we will take a pause. So let us draw the PLL block, input and output, and PLL, phase locked loop. While writing, you every time write phase lock ED. Do not forget this. Many times student write this phase lock loop. This is wrong. This is correct. Array, gadbad. Phase lock loop is wrong. Phase lock loop is correct. Is this okay? Understood? Hello. So you should write this and not this. Okay, so we have a block PLL input and output. So what is the input to PLL? It is a frequency. The frequency can be sine wave or frequency waveform. The waveform of the input can be sine wave or square wave. It can be both of them. We will work with square wave initially, though sine wave input is allowed, and whatever square wave we give, the information inside square wave will be its amplitude, and frequency. Phase is also there, but we'll pick up only these two. So out of the two informations, we'll use this information. This will be considered as a signal, input signal. Right. So what we understand is PLL is a block, then long form of PLL is phase locked loop, then it has input and it has output. Input is a signal which has some frequency, and output is also a signal which also has some frequency. So F out and F in, and the relation between F out and F relation is F out can be n times F in. It means the frequency is getting multiplied. Have you studied the frequency divider? Have you studied that? Have you studied flip-flop? Suppose there is a flip-flop, suppose JK flip-flop and VCC, that is logic 1, and there is a clock here, and Q bar will take Q. Suppose input is this input, so we have clock, and Q will be such. Suppose the JK flip-flop is trailing edge, negative edge triggered, then there will be transition here, then transition here, then transition here, then transition here. So this edge, the flip-flop will toggle. Are you understanding this? For that, I think I need to draw it like this. Bubble. I have to draw bubble here. Are you understanding this? Yes or no? Suppose if you use one more flip-flop after this, what will happen? You have one flip-flop, one more flip-flop. Q is connected to the next clock and Q is taken as the output. So what will be the output? then this will be used as input and the output will be like this. If you use one more flip-flop, you will have one more signal. So what is the relation between this frequency and this frequency? This frequency and this frequency. Any relation is there? Suppose this you call as F1. What is F2? इतना टाइम. हाँ, F1 is equal to twice F2 or F2 is equal to F1 by 2. So what is the relation? F2 is equal to F1 by 2. F1 को हम क्या कर रहे हैं? डिवाइड कर रहे हैं. अरे चौगुले ऋतुजा क्या बोल रहे हैं? ट्वाइस ऑफ F1. Hansraj, you are telling correct. F1 is equal to twice F2. Actually we should write F2 because it is the output. आप F1 नहीं लिखना. F2 should be F1 by 2 because F2 is the output. समझ में आ रहा है क्या? गड़बड़ मत करना. सो F2 इज F1 डिवाइडेड बाय 2. F3 क्या है? F3 क्या है बताओ अभी ऋतुजा. Yes, F1 by 4, F1 by 4 or F2 by 2. So you go on dividing by 2, divide by 2, then divide by 2 and so on. So this circuit is a frequency divider. Everybody understood that? So frequency divider can be implemented using what? A frequency divider can be implemented using what? Yes, flip-flop. Right? But you cannot implement frequency multiplier, which is this, by using any other block other than this. Frequency multiplier is possible only by phase lock loop. Therefore, people use frequency multiplier. For example, your processors are say 3 gigahertz, but 3 gigahertz crystal is never connected. Crystal is connected of low frequency like 100 megahertz and so on because it is outside the chip. So that 100 megahertz is increased 30 times inside the processor by using what is called as phase lock loop, and then the processor works internally at 3 megahertz. 3 gigahertz. Are you getting the point? So in the next class we will understand how the phase lock loop works, what are the internal blocks, why the blocks are there, how they are connected, why they are connected that way only, and how the blocks interact with each other, and how phase lock loop can implement or can result into multiplication of frequency. Are you getting the point? Okay, so today we try to understand what is current limit. Current limit two types: constant current mode, constant voltage mode and current and voltage dropping mode. Then we understood importance of current limit for testing of embedded board, and then we started phase lock loop we took an example of 8051 which doesn't allow us to change the frequency. Advanced processors allow variable speed operation. We took an example of one PIC controller where we found PLL there on the chip. Applications of PLL. Then what is PLL? PLL is a block which multiplies the input frequency by n or some value, and before that we understood what is frequency divider, and flip-flop, a single flip-flop or chain of flip-flops can allow us to divide the frequency, but we need multiplication of frequency. So we will understand how the frequency multiplier can be implemented using PLL. So next time we will again start at a very low level to understand the things related with phase lock loop. Phase lock loop is a huge topic, but we are going to simplify the whole thing. There are complete books on PLL only, complete book on this small, not small, but a single topic, but we are simplifying this so that we understand the whole idea behind the phase locked loop. So shall we take a pause now with this? Okay, so was this session useful for you? Okay, so have a nice day and thank you.